Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to All the Mods Expert Remastered. So, since last episode, I spent a little bit of time figuring out where I wanted to put the blood altar, and I have a really cool design idea in mind for this, and I think we're going to stick it right up there. And I'm going to build like a structure that kind of comes out, and I have an idea for up there, which we'll get to that. But anyways, you'll notice there's a little like hologram. I crafted up Inspectora Scandalum. This is just made, just as a heads up, a book in a tier 1 altar, 1,000 life points. You get an Inspectora Scandalum. And the way this thing works, I know I've covered it before. It's quite handy to have. You can shift right click and set the tier of altar that you want to lay out. I've just set it to 6 because, you know, that way you get the whole shebang. You can see the whole altar. And then all you have to do is just right click or shift right click your altar that you want. You have to have a blood altar, but then you shift right click it and it's going to show you the entire layout of, you know, the full-sized altar or whatever tier you set it as, and all the blocks that need to be placed. So this will just kind of help you with like laying out your altar initially. Now one thing I might do, which I actually just thought of, I might raise this so you climb like steps to it. I don't know. I'm still kind of going over that idea in my head, but I did go ahead and craft up a bunch of blank runes. And I'm not going to be covering how to tier up your altar because the Inspectora Scandalum tells you, like right here, what blocks you need to put. So I use stone bricks. You don't have to use stone bricks. I know it shows stone bricks there, but you don't have to use them. I just did it for right now because I don't exactly know what all blocks I want to use out here. I do know that some of the blocks I want to use are from Abyssal Craft, so which is good that we're getting into Abyssal Craft now because I need some of those for some of the building that I need to do. So that's why I wanted to go ahead and jump into this episode. So anyways, currently we have a tier 3 altar, because the blood altar by itself is a tier 1, then you put the 8 blank runes around it, that's a tier 2, you put these runes down here and the glowstone and the blocks there, that makes it a tier 3, and I've started laying out some blocks for a tier 4, but I'm out of a few things, namely, I think Ember Shards, I think is the main thing that I'm out of, and a couple other things. A couple other really nice things, actually. Right over here, you'll notice we have some apiaries set up. These are Ender Queens. Okay? These can run in our like colder air, our colder climate that we have here. So I have these set up and just automated producing mysterious combs for us. And you'll notice I get regen because I gave them the beatific trait. Normally they have the Ender trait, and it's nasty. It does a lot of damage to you, but since we got Gendistry, there we go, beatific. And in addition, this is something really awesome. If you look at our genetic template, the first thing there under the chromosomes, never sleeps true. Ender bees are nocturnal, or not nocturnal, they're what, diurnal, I think is the term, or whatever it is. I don't know. Anyways, never sleeps true. That means they work in the day and at night. Okay? So I just ran them through here and got that never sleep. So for now on, which whenever we move all of our bees over, when we get those industrial apiaries, I'm going to update all of our bees so they have beatific, they have never sleep true, and they have all these stats that we've got. So quite handy, and I actually have an extra never sleeps true. I just need to make a chest for it. So, and then in addition, I put those down because of course we need that that propolis, that I don't know, Ender Propolis or whatever. And then over here, we have another set of bees. These are tropical. I've got those running, and you can see we've got silky combs building up. They haven't been producing quite as many silky combs, but that way if we need that silk wisp, we have access to it. Okay? So, quite handy. And something that came to mind, actually. Of course, right now we have to go through Abyssal Craft, and I can't get a tier 4 blood altar until we go through Abyssal Craft. I can't get Terra Steel until we go through Abyssal Craft. But the nice thing is, something that dawned on me, after we go through Abyssal Craft, we can get the Hellfire Forge, we can make the Terra Steel, or we can make the Spark to make the Terra Steel, and then we'll be able to get our industrial apiaries, right? Well, in addition, once we get the Terra Steel, we'll be able to start refined storage, if that's what... I'm still checking into some things, but I think that might be what we go with. So we'll be able to start refined storage, which will be awesome. And in addition, this is the biggest thing. This is something I've been excited for. We can start environmental tech. The laser cores. Because like Touchstone of Midas, Block of Gold, green gold, all this enriched gold, white gold. We can make all of that stuff. We can make the basalt structure tier blocks. That's not a problem. A little bit expensive, but not a problem. Beacon, of course, we'll have to get another star, but that's not really a problem. It's not beyond our means at the moment anyways. But the teleposition reagent requires the Hellfire Forge. We'll have to get into Tartaric gems, which I haven't bothered because there's not really a point until we get a Hellfire Forge. But we need a teleposer. And this requires teleposition focus, which takes the tier 4 blood altar. But once we get the Hellfire Forge, we can upgrade to a tier 4 altar and get that. So we'll be able to start environmental tech, which is super exciting because we're going to be able to get void miners and void resource miners, which is going to help a ton when it comes to building. And it's going to help a ton when it comes to progression. So that's kind of our goal right now. You know, I was originally thinking maybe we'll bounce between tech and magic and stuff. No, we're gonna gun down Abyssal Craft. We're gonna get industrial apiaries. We're gonna get refined storage. We're gonna get environmental tech. We're gonna get a cobble works. We need to start getting compressed cobblestone. We need to start doing those things. Sticks, you know, we're already working towards our compressed sticks, but we need to get that cobblestone being compressed for octuple cobblestone fairly soon. So we can go ahead and have that start going. So we're going to cover that once we get into the cobble works, which will be after our Abyssal Craft excursion. So, yeah, after Abyssal Craft, it's going to open up a lot of possibilities for us, and I'm super excited for them. So anyways, today we are going to be diving into Abyssal Craft. And before we do that, let me dump off some of my inventory here. Okay, I kind of cleaned that up a little bit. And so what we are going to do, let me go sleep so it's daytime. Or actually, first up, let's go ahead and open our quest book here. To start Abyssal Craft, there's a few things that we're going to have to do before we can actually start getting into the dimension leaping. And the first thing that we are going to do is we're going to craft ourselves a Necronomicon. The starter Necronomicon, which for those of you that don't know, Abyssal Craft is very Lovecraftian inspired. You know, Lovecraft, Cthulhu mythos and all that. And which honestly, I think that's a lot of what makes me love it so much, because I'm a huge fan of Lovecraft and yeah, it's really an excellent mod, and I think a lot of times it's overlooked, and it's probably one of my favorite mods because it's just so good. Let's see, I've got 5 rotten flesh. Just so happens to be 1 short, actually. Let me see something here. Zombie heart. Yeah, that's right. I forgot about that. Let's go ahead and just break that down. There's 6. Okay. So we can craft our Necronomicon. This thing's actually super cheap. Super cheap. Now you'll notice it says 0 to 5,000 PE. We'll get into that in just a little bit. Just a little bit. So, welcome to Abyssal Craft achievement. And that quest is completed. We don't get anything. And also Monolith Stone. There's a quest for that. We've already got that, and we'll be covering, I've actually got some right here, because I was using it for something. I used it for something. Let's see, what did I use it for? Oh yeah, the Decorative Statues is what I was using it for. But if you have any questions about how to get that, we're going to be covering that in just a minute. And actually, the Monolith Stone pillars, these things right here, that's just 4 Monolith Stone. There's a quest here to make 1 of them. But I tell you what, we're going to go ahead and make, let me grab just like a stack of this stuff. We're going to go ahead and make ourselves at least 4 of these, I'd say, to get started. Would be good. And that's going to complete that quest. Fairly straightforward, I think. And the purpose of these things is they are going to be holding our statues. And I'm actually not going to set these down yet. The thing about Abyssal Craft, starting out, early on, this stuff is dangerous for your base. So, generally, I suggest you don't build it just right in the middle of your base, because there's negative effects that can happen, and those include spawning what's called a Shoggoth, which is what we're about to go out and find. Because we have to get, there's Shoggoth lair there, but I don't really want to do it right that close to our base. Looks like one's down here. Actually, I think that, yeah, this is where I got the Monolith Stone from before. But somebody's been through here, and I think they've probably killed the Shoggoths off. Yeah. Yeah, it looks like all the Shoggoths are dead, or they have been cleared. So we're just going to fly out. We're kind of looking for like a little structure, and I'll show it to you a little bit closer once we find one that hasn't been cleared out. But we need to start getting ourselves the statues from Abyssal Craft. Now, they look like the decorative statues that we have. Okay, I'm actually going to switch it to clear weather. Since we're out, I don't want it raining through the whole recording. Because otherwise, Severe will get mad at me. And he'll say, why do you not toggle the rain off? I'm just picking on him, but yeah, I do need to toggle that off. But the statues that we're going for, they look just like the decorative statues that I crafted, that I have setting around the base. And, there's like different gods and stuff. Different ancient ones that are depicted by the statues. But the ones that we're looking for are the non-decorative kind. These right here. It's these big black structures. And you can see they're made out of monolith stone. And if you go down in here... Oh, there we go. There we go. Come on. I'm just trying to get these guys to come out. That's a Shoggoth. They're these big, nasty monsters. And they actually hit pretty hard, so I advise you not to get hit by them. Now, these guys, they're going to fall in the water, which isn't ideal. So we're going to try to lure these guys over to... Well, actually... I'm going to have to make a ranged weapon here in a minute. Okay, I'm going to try to get these guys to come over to the grass. Okay, that's interesting. I just got like a really big lag spike, and I got killed. And all the mobs despawned. Okay, there we go. Anyways, let's lure these guys out. Oh, see how hard they hit? Of course, my armor is like pretty awful at the moment, which we're going to have to fix that before we go into our first dimension. But our armor will be okay, I think, to handle this stuff. What is all with all these particle effects? Let me turn particles down. By the time I find it, it's like I'm being attacked. Okay, video settings, particles. Let's do decreased. Yeah, that's not enough. Okay, because I don't want those particles popping around us. Okay, there we go. Now you'll notice that when these Shoggoths got on the grass, they start leaving like this goop behind. And what that is Shoggoth ooze. This stuff right here, Shoggoth ooze. And what we want to do is we want to just kind of like run these guys around so they start spreading that ooze around. It's kind of nasty stuff. I'm actually not even wearing any pants right now on the game. I'm not wearing any pants on Minecraft. Alright, so you can see they're kind of leaving goopy ooze behind them, and they're killing passive creatures as well. And we just need to kind of run them around and let them spread that ooze around. They're getting attacked by bees. Alright, let me bring some more out from in here. Because you can see they're going to keep spawning. This stuff down here inside the little Shoggoth layer, that little green square thing down there, that's where they spawn from. And they'll just keep kind of spawning inside of there unless that green ooze is destroyed. And anyways, what we're trying to do right now is we're trying to get them to kind of just spread this, and they're going to start building structures from it. So let's get these guys all like crammed into here together. There we go. There we go. That's what we want to happen. They are going to spawn these structures, and if you notice, that's a Shub Niggeroth. Oh, I forgot they can climb that stuff. Just death fest here today. This is just a little bit on the dangerous side. I don't want these seeds, but thanks. No, no. These guys hit like a truck. They really, really do. And Abyssal Craft is that way. Like, we're going to get to some creatures that hit really, really hard. Okay, you can see more of them are spawning out here now that that ooze is kind of spread. And you'll notice that I move really slow on that ooze, which is no fun. Okay, I'm just going to kind of... No! Oh, man! Oh my gosh, they make it so hard to, like, move around here. Okay. And I'm going to grab that real quick. There we go. There we go. Okay, so we got our first statue. And you'll notice it's not a decorative statue. This is a legitimate old god statue. Man, this rain. I swear it rains all the time. And we want more of these guys to spawn for us, if at all possible. Poor guy just fell down in there. Because I'm going to want at least... I generally suggest at least like 4 of these statues. Is like my personal suggestion. You can do more, but 4 is a pretty safe bet. I'm probably going to have to warp home, actually. Because this stuff's getting nasty. With nighttime coming. Let me go ahead and sleep real quick. I've already died like 3 times. It's great. Welcome to Abyssal Craft. Oh man, come on. Bed bug. Just going to fly back out there really, really quick. Okay, I'll tell you what. Since I'm having to go down here so much... I'll take and just kind of light the front of this up. So if nothing else, we've got a few less mobs spawning. Man, these guys hit so hard. Like, they really, really do. And they kind of move semi-quickly. Like, they can be a pain if you're not careful. And we just got another statue. This one is Jizan Statue. Come on. Get back over here, guys. You guys don't need to be heading over there. Hover mode is your friend right here, I'd say. They're like all like stuck. And actually, if I recall correctly, it's better to leave the statues at first because more of these guys will spawn around the pillars that have the statues, so it's a little bit quicker to kind of spread these out. So let's, yeah, so you can see that little pillar is spawning guys. That one over there is not. So we definitely want to leave that for just a little bit. And then eventually you're going to have so many of these guys running around that you're going to have like a crazy amount of statues. The thing is, since they like climb up blocks and stuff, like no place is safe from them. And there's another one like right on top of that one. It's basically whenever these guys get kind of clustered up, I think it's like about 6 of them or something like that, it'll start spawning those. So we want to try to get them together, and basically the more spawns you have, you know, the faster it's going to spread. So letting those statues stay until you get the number of statues like around here that you want. Like right now, technically we've got 5 statues. I'm going to go ahead and go for like maybe just a few more, like a couple more. There's another one. That might actually be enough. Oh yeah, there's a bunch around here. Alright, so let's break off some of these statues. There we go, there's one. And hover mode for harvesting these, definitely your friend, but watch out for stuff like that. They're like leaping off the cliffs and stuff, like, they want me pretty bad right now. Man, there's so many of them compacted up in here. Alright, so we have 3 Hastur, 1 Cthulhu, 1 Yog-Sothoth, 1 Shub-Niggurath, and 1 Jizar. Sounds good. Oh, and there's another statue. That's an Azathoth statue. So we've got 8 right now. That's probably more than enough. Okay, so let me fly over here. I'm just going to warp home. I think we're good. And I'm actually on my last piece of food. These guys hit so hard. So let's go home. Okay, so now that we've got those, the next step that we are going to need to do, and I don't actually think the quest book covers too much of this, but we're going to need to get the energy pedestal, and it looks like that's gonna require some Corellium. So let me see, that's ritual pedestals. This right here, the energy pedestal. So this requires monolith stone, a Corellium pearl, and a shadow gem. We've got the shadow gem, we've got the monolith stone, but the Corellium pearl. To make this, we're going to have to smelt pearlescent Corellium ore or Corellium infused stone. Okay. Now this stuff, once we get to the first dimension, which is the Abyssal Wasteland, we'll be able to mine this. It becomes a whole lot easier. But the first bit of that, we're going to have to craft it, and we're going to have to get Corellium gem clusters, which is Corellium gems. Now I don't think that we have any of this. Let me double check. Okay, I've actually got 2 Corellium gems, but you know what? That's not going to be enough to do much with. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to go find ourselves a Corellium infused swamp. Or that's the best place. If I recall, it actually mentions in the quest book here about the Corellium. It's found in wet biomes like swamps and oceans, but it's most dense in Corellium infested swamps at Y level 33 and lower. And it says, unless you're very lucky, you may have to mine for several hours in a Corellium infested swamp to collect enough Corellium to progress. By the way, the Necronomicon, if you open this up, it's basically your book. And we're going to upgrade it as we go through the mod, which we'll get into that. And it covers like all your rituals and all the details about the mod and all that stuff. But anyways, I'm going to sleep. And actually, before we head out, I need to go charge... No, I don't really have to charge the jetpack. 55%. If I recall correctly, I did find a Corellium swamp a while back. I want to say it's off in this direction. And I think there's one up near spawn as well, now that I think about it. So if we don't find one over in this direction pretty quickly, we'll pop over to spawn and head over there. I think there's one up there somewhere, but... Oh, what do you know? It's raining again, like twice a day or something. Like, if you clear it, it's like, I'm coming back. I'm coming back. And one nice thing is, like, generally, with Abyssal Craft, like, once you hit that first dimension, that's when Abyssal Craft really takes off, in my opinion, and, like, really becomes fun and interesting. But the nice thing is, one of the things you generally have to farm for with this mod is shadow gems. Well, since we've lived in a Darklands biome for the whole time, what is this? Oh, I cleared that, actually. That's one of the, right here, yeah. This is a Corellium-infested swamp. You'll notice the difference in color, and right there on Journey Map it says Corellium-infested swamp. So, good stuff. Good. And so what we'll do is we'll just pop over to here. This is all Corellium-infested. And we'll just head straight down. You know what I didn't bring with me? I did not bring a bunch of torches, which is good. That's awesome. Let me get my axe. I'm just going to get some wood so that we've got it to make torches. And there's some torches. Okay, so let's head down to like Y33. But anyways, there's marble, but I'm just going to pass it up. I've actually got quite a bit of marble these days from the mining dimension. Like, I've been mining a bit there, and I tend to find quite a bit of marble there, so I'm not as like, oh my god, I gotta get marble as I used to be. Oh, there's mobs down there. That's great. Let's see. Let's try to just bypass that, because that's not quite the Y level that I'm looking for. We're going to go down to about here. That sounds good. Okay, so we're looking for Corellium ore. And I'm going to grab this gold, because gold I'm not great on. But anyways, one of the nice... There's some Corellium ore right there. That's what we want. And you can see we just got 8 Corellium gems. This stuff is not like crazy common. You'll notice, I mean, you tend to find like batches of like 1 Corellium ore at a time and stuff. You don't generally find like big nodes of it. There's 2. Stuff like this. This cavern is kind of nice for searching for Corellium. I mean, you'll notice I'm not spotting much of it. So this stuff isn't terribly... It's not terribly common at all. Oh, I see a couple Corellium nodes over here. And I want to grab like a decent little amount of this. Yeah, see, we've got 16. I mean, you don't even get a lot of it whenever you mine it, even with fortune. Like, anyways, we're supposed to craft one of these, this Corellium gem cluster. And so then if we take a look, that quest is completed. They're going to give us 4 more Corellium gems. Okay, and then they want us to make a Corellium pearl. And by the way, this stuff, you can just freely break it down, combine it. There's all different kinds of this stuff, like right here, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You know, you can pretty much stack however many you so desire together. And then you can combine like a Corellium 2 and a Corellium 3 and get a Corellium 5 and all that. Like, it's pretty much free. Like freedom to do it however you want, basically. Okay, I'm going to warp home. It's getting dangerous here. We will have to go back to that place later. There's one other thing I'd like to find, but I do want to upgrade armor before I get too much into that stuff, because it's quite dangerous. Okay, so let's pop over here. Let's get our Corellium. And then to make our Corellium infused stone, it's just any kind of stone. Yeah, okay. So let's get 6 of that, and we're going to want... Basically, we want these Corellium gem cluster with 3 gems in it. And we'll just lay it out like that. Do that. There's our Corellium infused stone. Now, is there any way to, like, double this or anything? Furnace. No. It's pretty much just 1 is all we're going to get from it. Okay, so let's pop up here. We'll get this thing smelted real quick. And we should be able to drop it in the powered furnace. There we go. And there's our first Corellium pearl. And manual detect. There we go. 4 Corellium gems for that. Okay, so now we can craft our energy pedestal. I think aside from that, it's all just like monolith stone, right? Yeah, monolith stone and then 1 shadow gem. Now, the shadow gems, one thing to note about these, if you're not living in a Darklands biome, these things only drop from, you know, those shadow mobs. And there are shadow fragments, shadow gem shards, and then shadow gems. And basically, there's 3 different shadow creatures. The smaller ones drop fragments generally. The medium ones drop gem shards, and the shadow gems are dropped by the largest ones. And those really only spawn in Darklands Highland. Okay? You're not going to find them really in the Corellium-infused swamps and all that, unless you're, like, right next to a Highland and they happen to wander down. So, if you don't live in a Darklands, like, I have 6 shadow gems, 15 shards, I've got 18 shadow fragments. So, I mean, we're good on that stuff, but if you don't live in this kind of place, you may want to make a spawner, because you do need a fair number of these moving forward. You know, so just a heads up. Alright, so let's get ourselves like 7 monolith stone, and we'll get this thing crafted. There we go. Energy pedestal. So the nice thing about living here, though, is I've kind of been, like, basically building up, and so starting Abyssal Craft's not nearly as bad as it could be. Okay, so we finished this page entirely. The blood magic is kind of starting into Abyssal Craft. Now, the next thing that we need to do, Transmutation Gem. Okay, now to do this, let's take a look. Actually, if you pull up Transmutation Gem, which is this thing right here, you'll notice it has a durability. It says this item can alter properties of other materials, 10 out of 10. This thing has 10 uses, okay? And if you take a look, this is what we need. Corellium Pearl, Blaze Powder, Diamonds, Ender Pearls. And then it's a Necronomicon ritual. And it says right here, required energy 300 PE and location anywhere. This stuff's kind of important. Location means basically the dimension that you can do it in. Later on, we're going to see ones that say Darklands, or Abyssal Darklands or whatever. And then we'll see ones that are like Dreadlands. And that means the dimension that you have to cast this in. This can be done anywhere, so we can do this in any dimension. It doesn't matter. Required energy 300 PE. That's what we're just about to get into. We have to start infusing PE energy, or P energy, into our Necronomicon. So that's what we got the statues for, and we got those stands to put the statues on. And then the rest of the stuff is, we're going to have to set up a ritual circle, which we'll get to that in just a moment. So let's go ahead and lay this thing out for charging PE into this. Now, like I said, I really highly suggest not putting this inside of your actual base, because there's negative effects that can happen. One of the big ones being Shogoths. They can spawn Shogoths, and you saw what Shogoths did to that area where we went, right? They spread that nasty crap everywhere. And we don't really want that to happen just right in the middle of our base. So what we're going to do is we're just going to pop over to spawn and put it inside of Gonryu's base. No, I'm just kidding. We are going to, we're going to go over here, and let me actually grab like a block. Oh, we could put it in Sphered's base. He would like that. Just log on, and there's there's just Shogoths running wild. Let me get like some cobble. Yeah, like 2 stacks. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to a slime island, and I'm just going to set this up on top of the slime island for now. Now later on, we're going to set up a little area specifically for this, but for right now, well, they might fall off. They'd probably die though if they fell off up here. Yeah, this is close enough to our base. We're gonna use this as our temporary Abyssal Craft area. Nice floating island is perfect for that. And we'll just kind of cover over all of this. And let me set it to weather clear. This rain, I swear. We'll just kind of cover over that so we don't have slime spawning and all that mess. And then what we're going to do is, let's see, the energy pedestal. We're going to set this down like right here. Okay. And then the monolith stone pillars, we're going to set these like 1 block away and just surround our energy pedestal with these. And then we're going to take our statues. Cthulhu statue we'll set right there. Yog-Sothoth. Then we'll do Jizar. And we'll do Azathoth right there. And then what we can do is we can just take our Necronomicon, right-click it onto the energy pedestal, and... Okay, yeah, I've actually got it too close. You'll notice they're shooting me with those blasts, but they won't shoot it to the energy pedestal. I put them too close. I was thinking it was... Yeah, we need to come out 3 blocks instead of 2. It's been a little while since I've done this mod, actually. I do have a mod spotlight for this mod, but we'll be covering it in depth within this series. But you'll notice right now... See, it's blasting that energy pedestal. And basically what it's going to do is it's going to store energy into that Necronomicon. So that way we don't have to stand over here and hold it. There's also like a sacrifice that you can do, like a sacrificial altar. But it's... I don't generally suggest it because you might as well just set this up. The sacrificial one is a little bit more, or it generates a little bit more. Now, one thing we can do, and one thing I'm going to do, since we got those 8 statues, actually, let me go ahead and claim this first up. We'll just claim this little area here, and I'm going to chunk load that. And I think, yeah, all this is within range of the chunk loader. Oh, you'll notice that there was just a lightning strike, and I got slowness. That's one of the negative effects that can come from that. And basically what it is, the old gods don't like you messing, like dabbling in Abyssal craft. And so they're going to kind of try to retaliate every so often by summoning mobs or causing lightning strikes or, you know, starting fires, that kind of thing in your area. Probably, like I said, probably the worst thing that can happen is Shoggoths. And really it's only bad if it's like inside your base. You don't really want that to happen, so that's why we're putting it on that island for right now. Let's go ahead and get ourselves a little bit of monolith stone. And I want to craft 4 more of these altars. Alright, but then what we can do is, I've got 4 more of those monolith stones. We can come out, like where this Cthulhu statue is, we'll come over by 2 and put a statue here. We'll come over by 2, put one right here, and then over here we'll come out 2, come out 2. And then we can take and put a Hastra statue, Shub-Niggurath right there, and we'll do a couple more Hastra statues right here and right here. Now if we watch, here in just a second, we should see some of these other ones blasting it. There was, there we go, there was that one blasted it. So now all of these are shooting at it. And we could go a little bit further and put, you know, like one right here and one right there and over there and so on. Now if we take a look at our Necronomicon, we have 1,375 PE, and PE stands for potential energy, if you want the exact name on that. So the next thing that we're going to need to do is we're going to have to start getting into rituals. And these use that PE that we're starting to generate in our Necronomicon. So let's see, first up, the very first ritual, if we open up this book and we go to rituals, information, getting started, what we're going to need to do is we're going to need to lay out this structure right here, basically just where the cobblestone is. We can either get cobblestone or darkstone cobblestone for the overworld. And I'm going to go with darkstone cobblestone. And we're going to set up a little area for our overworld rituals. So altogether, we are going to need to get ourselves 9 pieces of darkstone cobblestone. You don't even have to smelt it, just cobblestone. It's great. Alright, and then over here, this is kind of, by the way, you'll notice I set up mana pools right here. That's going to be for a little bit later. So, we'll get into that pretty soon. I guess we're going to put this, like, right in here. I think should be good, because this is kind of like a darker magic side. And over there is kind of like lighter magic, like astral sorcery, and we'll have some Britannia stuff. And then over here it's like blood magic and abyssal craft. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to come out 3 blocks. Right there. Right there. Right there. Right there. And then in the middle of this. Is that right? Is that... Yeah, that's right. Okay, just kind of looked a little bit funny. So there we go. And then we'll take our Necronomicon, if I recall, and No. Let's see. Oh, my bad. Keep the colored area cleared. So all of this, it has to be clear of anything else. I've got torches back here that are too close. Yeah, some of these torches are like a little bit too close. Okay, let's try this now. There we go. We got the Dark Arts achievement, and we have our ritual circle. Oops. Okay, and then what we can do, we can start doing rituals. So the first thing that they want us to make is this Transmutation Gem. This is going to need 4 blaze powder, another one of those Corellium pearls, 2 diamonds, 2 ender pearls. We should have all of that. No problem making that. So let me pop over and grab those things. We're going to have to smelt up one more of that Corellium infused stone. Not a problem. We've got that. So we've got all the stuff that we need for this. And in addition, take a look at this, 300 PE. You need that in your Necronomicon. We have 1440, so we're good. We are good to go. So let's go ahead and just lay this out. The Corellium Pearl goes in the center. And then we're going to have to put blaze powder down. And then ender pearl there. There. And then diamond there. There. Then take our Necronomicon, shift right click. And here we go. Pow pow! And anytime an item gets made, there's going to be a lightning strike. And we just got the no need for a workbench, performed a creation ritual, and power merging, performed an infusion ritual. So grab this, there is our Transmutation Gem, and we can turn that quest in. Manual detect, they're going to give us a Corellium Pearl, and then either Blaze Powder, Diamond, or Ender Pearl. I'll take that Diamond, of course. Okay, and now that we've got that, the next thing they want us to make is a Shard of Oblivion. Okay, so let's go ahead and make that. So Shard of Oblivion is 4 Shadow Gems and a Transmutation Gem to craft. So let's pop down here. So this is where we start using a bit of those Shadow Gems, and if you don't have those set up in spawners, I will say those mobs, if you're looking for them, they never seem to spawn. Okay, I've had issues in the past where I'm like, I need Shadow Gems, and it takes forever to go out and find those creatures. Like digging underground and everything. So I do suggest, if you don't live in a Darklands biome, you haven't had time to build that up, I do suggest maybe make a spawner, or, you know, something to that effect. But anyways, there is our Shard of Oblivion, and you'll notice that it does 1 durability damage to our Transmutation Gem. And we get a Shadow Gem as a reward. And then they want us to make the Staff of Rending. So this right here, and you'll notice the Staff of Rending, it has Abyssal Wasteland Energy, Dreadlands Energy, Omathal, Shadow Energy. These things, for one, I do suggest you upgrade these like as soon as possible, because these things are very tedious to build up. As you'll see, we're not going to be using this just yet. We can't really use it until we get into the first dimension, which, judging by the time, it'll probably be next episode before we actually jump into the dimension. This episode just kind of be getting that groundwork, the basic starting groundwork for Abyssal Craft. So for this, we're going to need 4 Shadow Gem shards, which is the medium one. And we'll go ahead and get this thing made. There we go, Staff of Rending. And we can turn that quest in. They're going to give us 4 Shadow Gem shards. And then Abyssal Wasteland Essence. This is what you use the staff for. We'll get into that next episode. And then we're going to need to make an Oblivion Catalyst. Okay, and I believe we'll have to make another Oblivion Shard. I'm fairly certain, unless the recipe has been changed. So this right here, yeah, we're going to need 4 Shards of Oblivion to make this. So 4 Shadow Gems. I may not even have enough Shadow Gems at the moment. These are a little bit expensive, to say the least. But I do have a lot of these fragments, so I can upgrade them. Let me just grab all of these that I've got. So Shadow Gem fragments, 9 of those make Shadow Gem shards. Shadow Gem shards, 9 of those makes a Shadow Gem. I don't even have enough for 1. Ugh. And I've been living in a Darklands biome this whole time and getting these crafted up. Oh, I could start working towards a powered spawner. I'm going to have to make more of a lot of this stuff, and the worst thing is, like, Vibrant Alloy is not a problem, but I am going to have to make a Slice and Splice to be able to make this, which is another machine chassis. Okay, I'm just kind of floating around right now, and one thing to note, Okay, this little guy right here, I can take the Staff of Rending. And one thing that we can do is this little guy, we can just right-click him with the Staff of Rending. And it's not going to do very much damage to him at all. I mean, this guy's got a lot of health. And we can just keep clicking him. And every time I click him, I get a shadow energy right down there. And once we get to 200 shadow energy, we'll get a shadow gem that way. I wouldn't really suggest it. It's terrible. It's kind of tedious. But I just wanted to cover that. That is one use for the Staff of Rending while you're in the overworld. But it will take you a fairly long time to, you know, get anything out of that. So, okay. It's nighttime right now. I went out and I captured a shadow beast in a soul vial. Because I actually had fused quartz running in the alloy smelter. So, Shadow Beast is the one that drops the big gems, right? If I put this guy down, that's what he looks like. He's the one that, he hits pretty hard, and he's fairly rare, and he spawns, or he drops the shadow gems that we need a lot of. So what we're going to do is we have a little bit of a process that we're going to go through. I was thinking about going with a powered spawner from Ender.io, but it's kind of expensive at the moment. It's kind of involved, and there's a lot easier way to do this. So what we're going to do is we are going to make ourselves a spawner changer. I'm pretty sure this thing works with those fellows. We're going to have to get ourselves some empowered diamantine crystal. That we've done this before. Let me get... I mean, it's semi-expensive, I guess, but it's not too bad, really. These spawner changers are so nice, too. Like, if you've never used them, we actually used them back in my Direwolf series. We used them quite extensively for a little while, or for early on. So, but I want lots of these shadow gems. Okay, so empowered diamantine crystal block, and then all we really need, spawner shards and magma cream. So magma cream, and then the spawner shards, these of course they drop from spawners when you break them. So we have 5 of them in total. And we'll get our spawner changer. There we go. And then what I want to do is we're going to set this soul vial down and let this guy out. And we're going to just right click him with our spawner changer. And you can say Entity Abyssal Craft Shadow Beast, place in the crafting grid to clear the storage. Okay, so now that we've got that, let me just tuck that soul vial away. The next thing that we need to do is we have to go find ourselves a spawner. And let's see, before we do that, we're going to have to pop into the Nether. Just straight up, that's what we're going to have to do. So let's go ahead and head on in. I've got a fun little excursion planned for us here. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to go find a Nether Fortress. There was one off in this direction. Because what I'm looking for is wither skeletons. And we'll probably end up using these... Man, somebody has come in here and just wrecked this place like mad. And looks like they've broken the spawners and stuff off too. Because I had this one set up for like blaze farming early on. But we don't really need it anymore, but not too much. That one is... Oh, that one is not broken. Okay. That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, I'm looking for a wither skeleton. Or possibly a few wither skeletons. It's not the most common drop, but we do have looting on our sword. So it may actually not be too bad. We're about to find out, though. And actually, one thing that can help with this is if we open Options, Minimap Preset, and we're going to change Mob Display to Small Icons. Okay? So then we can actually look on the map and see what each creature is. And we're looking for a wither skeleton, which I don't see any nearby. Oh, I do see wither skeleton right over in this direction. I just don't know how we're going to get up to him. He's like right on top of us right now. There he is. We didn't get anything of note from him. Okay, joke's on me, because I happened to look up what I was looking for, which is the Drop of Evil. Guess what? Mob drop disabled. However, it can be made in a tier 3 altar with a shadow gem for 20,000 life points, or it can be made through this method, but this requires an enchanter, which, I mean, I guess technically I could make that and get a nether star. So, I mean, we could make it that route as well, which I think is what we'll probably do, because that's actually not that bad. I can pull that off. I've got that. That's the only thing that's going to take any effort, and I mean, technically we could start getting into analyzing chambers, but I mean, that's only a 0.01. So I'll tell you what we're going to do. I'll tell you what I think we're going to do. I know it's about wrapping up point for this episode. I was wanting to go a little bit farther. Now, we're still going to use this. We're going to use this next episode, the spawner changer. And we're going to make ourselves a spawner that makes those shadow beasts. But between episodes, I'm going to sort out what kind of armor I want to go with. Because I'm not 100% sure at the moment what I would like to use in terms of armor. And I'm going to sort that out. And figure it out. We may craft it on camera. I'll probably craft it off camera. I do want something that still allows me to fly. And that's the worst thing is, like, this chest piece. Like, I have no armor right now. And, of course, I'm wearing slime boots. But, like, I can't make any kind of armored jetpack within this pack. I guess, technically, I could put protection on it. That's an option. I mean, I have no XP now. Since I died, like, 80 times this episode. But, I don't know. We'll sort something out for that. Some kind of armor to go with, because I know there's like the flux stuff. I mean, this stuff is pretty good armor, and at this point, the flux crystals destabilize redstone over diamond. Then you have this flux electrum, which we can make right here, electrum with redstone. So I may make some of that stuff. I mean, that stuff's not too bad to make. The flux infused jet plate's not craftable in this pack, but anyways, I'm going to sort some decent armor out, and let's see attack damage on our sword. I've actually got 4 modifiers left. I'm going to boost the damage of our sword, and I'm probably going to sort out some kind of a ranged weapon. I don't know if it's going to be a Tinker's Construct or if I'm going to do something else. I might go with like a revolver from Immersive Engineering. I'm going to sort some of that stuff out because we're going to have to do that anyways. Moving into Abyssal Craft armor and weaponry and stuff like that. Very, very important factor. So I've got to figure that out anyways. And then I'm also going to grind up 3 Wither Skeleton Skulls because we need to kill the Wither. We need to get ourselves an enchanter, and then we need to get that that thing. I think that would be the best way to go. I mean, we could do it with the Blood Magic Roots, with the Shadow Gem, 20,000 life points, because we can store it in a barrel and pump it in, which I think is what we're going to have to do for like the higher LP cost crafts. But this method is actually super easy as well, and we've already got, you know, all the infrastructure in place. And I really don't want to have to stab myself for that much life points, truth be told. So, yeah, I'm going to get the stuff together. We're going to fight the Wither next episode and kill our first Wither. And then we're going to get that Drop of Evil crafted. And then we'll be able to get our Shadow Gems super easily and proceed. I mean, we're really right at the precipice of entering Abyssal Craft. So we'll enter the first dimension next episode and possibly clear out the first dimension stuff and move on to the second dimension. So, fun stuff. Yeah, I think that's the plan, because I was going to have to sort armor between episodes before we could go in the first dimension anyway, so, and this is literally, you craft the Oblivion Catalyst, and then we can make the key, the gateway key, which is just Corellium Pearls, Blaze Rods, and that Oblivion Catalyst, so we're like right there. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay up to date with when new videos come out. And of course, if you guys have any questions about what we covered today, I mean, this is just the bare basics of kind of getting started with Abyssal Craft. You know, be sure and let me know down in the comments, and I'll do my best to get those answered for you. By the way, the Shadow Beasts, I know earlier I said Darklands, Highlands, but there's like another Darklands biome. It doesn't spawn, they don't spawn in the Corellium infested swamps. Those don't count as Darklands. But there is another Darklands biome. I can't remember what it's called. Darklands Meadows, or I don't know. It's not Meadows, it's something else, but it's not Highlands. The Shadow Beast will spawn there too. I was just thinking about that earlier. There is another Darklands, but In my experience, the Highlands is like the best place to get them to spawn, generally, in my experience. But I don't know if it's just luck or what, but I usually hunt in Highlands. But anyways, I hope to see you guys next time. Until then, as always, do take care, stay safe, and I'll see you guys then.